Hey everyone, it's Aubrey, recovering perfectionist, queen of distraction / gardener, and today is another garden update. Today we are back in the garden for just another update. We've had really a ton going on. The last week was really just so beautiful, and it's really just cooled down in the last day. It was extremely wonderful to be able to work outside and actually get to enjoy the weather. It was really like those first true snippets of summer popping through. So regarding my cabbage, last week I was suspecting it to die, and it did. So this, I've really just, I guess it's not dead, but I've kind of given hope on it. I'm just leaving it in the ground because I have nothing to put in there at the moment. But I do have some little cabbage seedlings that are popping up, and then I planted a whole tray in the greenhouse, and those are coming up too. I'm not sure if they're going to end up being a successful harvest, just because the weather is warming up, and I know that those are something that you're supposed to plant earlier than May. So that's that. I'll probably just end up pulling out the ones that aren't looking very healthy and replacing them with ones that are. Yeah, you can see those two babies popping up there. And then those, oh, that's a grave site from one, and oh yeah, that one is gone too. So the peas are still doing really good. Those peas as well. I planted some edamame up here. The boys really love that, so that's something that I'm excited about. This is the first year that we've ever planted it. And then I did zucchini down here, and then it's a butter squash up top here. There's still some stuff that I need to fill in here, but our carrots are doing so good. Look at that. I don't know if adding the extra soil really made a difference. I'm sure everything was coming up anyway, but I'm just glad that it didn't ruin anything. Let's see. It looks like we might have some beet babies coming up, and the bok choy. Nothing really seems to be happening there. Over here, I did end up reluctantly thinning the spinach. I know it's for a good cause, but like I said, it just feels so counterintuitive to pull out a perfectly good plant from the ground. But it looks like the ones that are left are doing pretty good. My kale that I planted last year is going to seed. I'm just gonna let it, it's pretty, and in this variety I believe was an heirloom variety, so I'm going to just let that stick around. On this trellis right here, I planted not morning glory seeds. Is it morning glory? Yeah, it's a heavenly blue morning glory. Jackson wanted some blue flowers, so I planted those there for him. I'm really excited to see how those turn out. The pictures that I've seen online, they're just absolutely gorgeous. And then on this side of the trellis right here, I planted our Blue Lake beans, which we've planted last year. Our beans didn't do good, but the first 2 years that we planted them, they did absolutely wonderful, and we had tons of beans to can. So I'm hoping for another big harvest like that this year. This is my basil that I transplanted. It's just, I'm so proud of it. And then here are some others. Looks like something has gotten to those, which is frustrating. I have my tomatoes out, getting some air. I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to plant those. I don't know, there's just something about tomatoes, they stress me out. In this bed here, I have loofah gourd right there, there, and there. And then down the way, this is birdhouse gourd. And then, let's see, from here, from where those rocks are, along the back, I have a variety of cucumber. It's a pickling cucumber that we had planted on the edge of our garden before in our old garden, and we never had any issues with rabbits or deer getting to them. So I'm hoping it'll be the same situation here. And then just in between everything, I planted a bunch of zinnias, marigolds, and snapdragons. So I'm hoping that that will fill in with just a ton of flowers. I'm so excited. And then pretty much on every post around the perimeter of the garden, I've planted some nasturtium seeds. They did really, really great over there last year. Oh, I also did some sunflowers on the opposing side of where the lettuce is and the spinach. I'm hoping that the sunflowers will just give a little bit of shade to those plants during the warmer months. And then we put this cattle fencing here to keep our chickens that have been escaping from going in there, and then Alec and Jackson trying to keep them out as well. Again, zinnias, marigolds, sunflowers. I did do some hollyhocks on the end, which I'm really excited to see how those turn out. And then I have a bunch of snapdragons that are coming back from last year. Everything on this end is what I started inside. I don't think that I'm going to start as much inside next year as I did this year. I don't know why I think that I need to start so much, because you can put things in the ground and it will grow, just from a seed. It's really mind-blowing. Our apple trees, that we got have just, so much life has been added to them in the last. And then another project that we've been working on is adding this rain collection system to the side of the house. Josh actually just finished up most of it today. We're supposed to have some rain in the next couple days, and I'm hoping that we'll get some collecting in there. And then our 2 cherry trees, they've got a lot of blooms. Josh and I mulched those today, and our raspberry plant, and then we're probably going to be getting some more raspberry plants for my parents this year. And then I did add a couple layers to our potato lasagna. There were some potatoes in the pantry that I didn't realize that were there that were perfect contenders for that situation. So I'm hoping that adding those later didn't impact anything, but I don't know, we shall see. My chamomile is doing really good coming up over here. I did add chamomile on this side, but it was a lot more sparse than the other side. So I popped in some white marigold seeds, and then I have some of the heavenly blue morning glories. They got really leggy, so I'm hoping that putting them on this climber upper thing will help that. So time will tell. I also planted some of those morning glories in that hanging basket. Josh's jalapenos, some lavender that I still need to deal with, and then another jalapeno. I think another reason why I'm feeling really drawn to just planting seeds directly into the ground is because once I start things, it's like, okay, I have this tiny plant. When do I put it in the actual ground? And there's just like, I feel like it's more complicated than I need gardening to be. So yeah, so next year I think that I'm just going to try and direct sow as much as I possibly can. But I know by the time January, February rolls around, I am going to be just so eager to get my hands in the soil. Maybe I'll just have to try and focus on and find plants that I can just plant really early. Oh, Jackson and Josh did some clearing in a portion of the yard, and Jackson found an elderberry tree. I knew it was there, but it was tucked away behind some outbuildings, so I really always forgot about it. But Jackson rescued it, and we planted it in an area that it will get a lot more sun. So I'm hoping that the birds will save us some berries, and that we can make some elderberry syrup for the winter. But this big patch of forget-me-nots is coming in near the garden, and I love these so much. They're just the cutest little flowers. Over here, Jackson and I planted a fun variety of corn. We did 4 rows, and then over here I have tucked in, it's a blue variety of pumpkin that's really cool. We planted a couple last year, but we only ever actually ended up getting 1. I'm hoping that we'll get at least a few between those plants in there. And then there are some small white pumpkin seeds and then some carving pumpkin seeds that I want to get in the ground. So that's probably something that I'll try and do this week. But really, other than that, I think that I'm done with my planting for the year. And I think that this is really the first year that I was able to be diligent about sticking to a schedule. And I just feel like a proper grown-up gardener right now. But I'm so excited to see how this takes off. I'm very nervous though, because we have some stormy days coming up ahead. Nothing super cold, but I feel like it's those warm, rainy days that you end up with some random monstrous hail that just murders everything in your garden. So we'll see. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and just hope that everything works out for me, because I could really use a good, successful year after last year. Last year was really just a doozy. But thanks for hanging out again. I'll see you next week for another garden update. As always, I love you. Have fun and be kind.